bread is baked daily in-house, and the 100% Angus beef roast beef is cooked in-store. Experience the sub difference at Jersey Mike's in Uniondale and Carl Place.
Coming up at 12 o'clock today, Sunday, Motormouth Radio. Ray Guarino, Joe D, talking about cars. And like I said, you don't have to know anything about cars to enjoy the show. People watch cooking shows, don't know how to cook. People watch those home repair shows, they don't know how to fix anything. So Motormouth Radio is the same thing. Think about it that way.
All right, we're back on Motormouth Radio with the sweet picking sounds of our favorite Jerry Reed. Do a little bit of oleo in our music today. We usually maybe feature one guest and one group and kind of follow through. But I thought of Steve. I said, let's get some eclectic car songs today. So speaking of gas, we go with Crude Oil Blues. Why not? Yeah, we've all had that.
Well, it starts off that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, okay, yeah, we'll take it.
So give us a buzz, 516-572-7440. We're going to hear from Mr. Lewis Lee in a short amount from Playing in Traffic and Rollins Magazine. He's going to give us a SEMA update. We'll hear all about that. And we were talking about winterizing. So, Steve, what I had done is I gave you my highlighted list, the stuff that I thought was interesting to talk about that you wrote, which was pretty cool. I don't know if there's anything on there that you want to touch on or that tickles your fancy. I like the stuff about... Obviously, it was written by somebody who's had rodent infestation issues because there's a lot of put the visors down and open the compartments and... You know, I know you had some very pointed problems with that.
You know, they seem to come and go. I can go for 5 years with no problems whatsoever, and then all of a sudden they come back. And I went online a couple of years ago to look for tips on keeping these critters out of your car.
Right.
And some of the stuff I found was bizarre, but I tried it and it actually worked.
Really?
Such as?
Well, now I take, in the trunk of my cars, I take a plastic cup, and I put a cotton swab at the bottom, and I fill it with peppermint extract that I buy in bulk on eBay.
Wow.
Because it evaporates.
Right.
And then you take Irish Spring soap, not Dove, not Dial. It's got to be Irish Spring.
Okay.
And shave it down and put it in another cup.
Yes.
Yes, right, exactly. But I like it too.
Right.
And
nice.
I got to tell you, it seems to work.
Yeah, a lot of them critters don't like mint.
They don't like mint. And then another suggestion was take black pepper. And again, I order this in bulk. And assuming you're not using your car like you do during the winter, take black pepper and sprinkle it, make a trail of it around all four tires. Because when you think about it, these critters, they can't jump into the car. So they start on the wheel. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And they hate black pepper. And it seems to work.
I guess the next year, if you come back and you see little rope ladders hanging off your hubcaps, you know, okay, we got to do something. We need the moat, the pepper moat.
Well, some of them critters could be quite smart.
Yeah. If I see little rope ladders, then we have a bigger problem than that.
I never thought, the one you mentioned was leave the sun visors down because they use that as a platform to get into the headliner. And I found that in my car when I took it apart. The headliner was totally sagged with stuff. And I never thought that, they were standing up there. That was their diving board pretty much.
It's a favorite place. So there's, you see that on a lot of cars. Yep.
Who knew?
Yeah, who knew? Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I guess it also depends on where the car is parked. I mean, as far as is it in an outside garage, like next to the house, let's say, or out in the lot,
right.
or it's part or attached. You know what I mean, right?
Well, let me ask you, Joe. Has there ever been any winter issues at the UD?
Not, I mean, as far as critters?
Yeah.
No.
Well, I know there's always plenty of problems. I don't know if
we did find a couple of rats with beer cans, but
they were drunk.
Yeah.
I know that place is often it's very dry in the winter.
Yes, it is.
Within 10 minutes, I'm like, it's very dry. So, what about seals and weather stripping? Does that a protracted amount of time? Is that a problem?
At my own vehicles, at least, it hasn't really been because the cars are out of the UV light, you know what I mean, and the temperature is relatively stable. I mean, the landlords are very nice and they keep it at a very comfortable temperature all year round. I mean, in the summertime, of course, it gets hot, but
right,
you're out of the sun. Moisture, I mean, as far as like condensation and stuff forming, no, not really.
Wow. And
that is like one of the reasons why I kind of scraped together foot, tooth, and nail to get back in there. When there was that exodus a couple of years back when they got rid of a lot of us, and then what happened was I just noticed that keeping my car in a nice under a cover in the garage next to my house, concrete floor, the whole 9 yards, I was finding surface rust.
Yeah.
Which I never saw. You know what I mean? And I attributed that to the heat and the heat and the moisture.
Sure.
That Chevelle I had was in this like rickety garage that was next to the house, and boy, the stuff that happened in that car. I mean, actually, I think some of the seals shrank, from sitting outside. Because that car I had kept it in the UD for about 2 years and never leaked a drop. Nothing like that. No smells. That's another thing. There's no smells at the UD. You know what I mean? Outside of the ones that, of course, we create.
Different emanations. Our good friend Cliff just told us that he has to roll up his trunk mat to stop condensation under there, which will, of course, promote rust.
Right.
So I guess that's a good case for poor 15 the trunk floor.
Right.
Poor 15ing. I don't know if that's a...
Peel off.
Is that a verb?
Yeah.
It may be. We'll make it one, yeah.
I've found, and again, purely unscientific, people tend to think they're doing a favor by heating the garage. Mm-hmm. And again, purely anecdotal and unscientific, but up here in the Northeast, in the winter when it's cold, it's also really, really, really dry.
Yes.
So if you're going to heat the garage, friends of mine who have done that have also run dehumidifiers.
Okay.
And you can see gallons of water come out of these dehumidifiers on a daily basis.
Okay.
So I think if you're going to heat it, you probably want to run a dehumidifier also.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. Sure, consider it all depends on the particular environment.
Yeah,
that garage there.
Because cold is dry. I mean, it's like a desert here. In the winter.
No, that's very true. Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all sorts of thoughts on what to do with winter storage. We talked about, of course, raising the car, leaving the car on the ground, and last week we spoke about that. Again, you can catch that show on motormouthradio.com. You can go to past shows and hear what we talked about. I don't want to beat it to death, but in a nutshell, what I said to Joe is you go through all that work to get the car up at exactly the right height and all, and then if there is a nice day and you want to take it out, you're going to say, screw this, you got to uncover it,
right?
Go do all that to take it down for a drive and then put it all back again. So I think that's like leave it till March.
Right. Plus, when you think about it, is it really best to get it up in the air?
I don't.
Get out of my head. That's what I was just thinking.
It's good for the tires, but suspensions were not meant to hang, for long periods of time.
Well, everything that we've always seen says this: not to if the suspension is fully compressed. Of course, the springs will take that stress over the years, and if it hangs, if it's unsprung, complications could follow also. Yeah. But they say that what I always read was to have the car to a point where the tires are just touching the ground.
That makes sense.
So there's a little, and I said to Joe, unless you have a scissor jack that can do, like on a jack stand, you may never, I've seen guys using different, shaved blocks of wood to get under there.
Right. Yeah.
Is it that exact?
I'll go out to my woodworking shop and make myself a couple of chocks. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, take a couple of weeks off work, get a scale, and get some friends there, and one wheel at a time. After a couple of weeks, you can probably get it just right.
There's not enough coffee for that. I'm sorry.
There's not, but let's pour this coffee. Go to the phones and say hi. You're on with the Motor Mouths.
Hey, how's it going? Afternoon.
Hey.
Good. Who are we speaking to?
Speaking to Anthony from Freeport.
Oh, Anthony.
Hey, Anthony. What's happening, man?
New caller. Love it. What's happening?
Oh, yeah. No, I've been listening to you guys for years. I just never had the old. I have no vehicle right now, so I always thought, I can't call him. I got no car.
Well, listen,
you can call anyway.
I was going to say, listening.
Are you breathing?
Listening to us, you should know that doesn't mean jack. You can, we'll entertain anything. So what's up, Anthony? Talk to us.
Nothing. I was just wondering about a thing with if there's like a market for car ads out of magazines. Like I got a bunch of them I've been taking out and I put into poly bags and backing boards.
You mean from like classic cars or?
Yeah, from like Life magazine from the 60s, 50s, 70s.
It's interesting. My friend was just sent me an email about this yesterday. How he and I picked up a load of magazines from a friend in Brooklyn. I mean, literally, I filled the back of my car. We had at least 1,000 magazines.
What types?
Carcraft, hot rod, car and driver, popular hot rodding, drag racing, all sorts of stuff like that. And he mentioned to me, he goes, you know what, I'm seeing these cool ads. And he says, I don't want to throw the magazine out because this ad is like something that I think I want to save. And I said, yeah, you know.
Wow, yeah.
I've done the same thing. I would razor them out and save them just as the page. Anthony, I've seen them on eBay. I've seen people selling stuff like that on eBay.
Sure.
Really?
Doesn't you really go for a lot of money? You know, and of course it's commensurate with condition and whatnot. But if a guy really wants that Hearst ad because his car is in it or whatever,
right?
Yeah, you may get a couple bucks.
Oh yeah. No, I definitely been getting them through Life. You know, Life was a big magazine.
Yeah.
So I had to buy them online. I went on Amazon. I got the poly bags and everything, and they look really great. I got Ford, Chrysler, Chevy, Dodge. Oh, they look great. You know.
Oh yeah,
sure. I love those cars like the Dodge Coronet, the Belvedere, Ford Torino, and all those classic cars, the fastbacks, you know, I love them.
What was your favorite car back in the day, Anthony? What did you drive?
Oh, back in the day, I had a 73 Malibu.
All right.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, it was a cool car. I wish it could have been like one of the older ones, like the 60s.
Right.
Like the 65, 66, 67. But I had a 73, which is a good one. A 350. Great car.
Excellent. Yeah,
Real steel.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely.
And then I had a whole bunch of other cars through the years, which, you know, I wish I had a little car graveyard, but they're all gone.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Someone must have them. My last car, though, was a Ford Maverick, 1977.
Ooh.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, little classic car. That was a little 6-cylinder. It was a great car. But the one thing I wanted to also just let you know about the magazines was I got a bunch from my friends. They moved, and it was National Geographic.
Oh boy!
And they were from the 10s and 20s.
Wow!
So I could have had a whole crate, but the guys, whoever were cleaning out the house, must have just took it out and dumped it in the driveway.
Yeah.
So a lot of them got rained on and destroyed.
Yeah.
So, but the ones that I was able to, that was saved, that were able, like in a little pocket in the back, I got maybe about 20 books out of them.
Nice.
And I got all these really cool ads from the 10s and 20s from Cadillac and then a lot of cars you never heard of, you know, that were back in the day, you know.
The old electric cars. Well, that's great, Anthony.
Yeah, there's people, you know, if somebody has their car in an ad.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, if someone from the
aficionado.
20s had these cars that I got now, like, I forget some of the name, like Nash was one of them, Durant, Studebaker, what was the other one? Packard.
Yeah.
There was some. They're really old, man, going to like 90, 100 years. So I'm going to look into that on eBay, like you were saying.
Yeah, I would think maybe if you put them together as a package, maybe 5-6 ads that are kind of around the same time period, sell them as a group. That may be more of an enticement. I don't know.
Yeah.
Give it a shot. Well, listen.
I'll give it a shot, you know. And hey, if any time, maybe I might catch one of you guys at one of the car shows. That would be awesome.
Absolutely.
By all means.
And hey, listen, don't be a stranger. Give us a call back. Keep in touch. Let us know how you make out with that stuff.
All right. Oh, you got it, guys.
Thanks, Anthony.
Thanks for the call.
Oh, no problem.
Nice
Have a
to
great
meet you.
day.
All right. So
Bye-bye.
long. All right.
Yeah, people
great.
get crazy with that stuff. I mean, you know,
Absolutely.
You go to car shows, there's the brochure for their particular car. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure.
I found one for the Camaro. It's in, you know, tucked away safely.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the Chevelle, the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you know, it's nice to see, especially if there's the car in your car's color.
Right.
Like your car, you know, happens to be in the brochure of the advertisement. That's cool stuff.
That's very cool. Yeah, you're right.
Anthony just said something and a light bulb went off in my head.
Uh-oh.
I thought I saw a whiff of smoke.
Here's a new business. An automotive graveyard. And I'm not talking about a junkyard. How about where there's like a crusher that can crush your car down to the size of a shoebox and you can bury your car, kind of like a bite-a-week for cars?
Wow.
Yeah.
Because who wants to send their car off to the junkyard when
I
it's
did that a few
you know?
times, and I tell you, I had to turn away as the flatbed was heavy.
It's kind of tearful, especially if you're attached to a car.
Can you
did.
imagine an automotive like where they could crush it into something really small and manageable?
And
Turn it
guys,
into like a table or something.
well,
Yeah.
guys, we know could make enough of those. You could make them pavers around your yard. You could do like
There
a
you go.
retaining wall out of them or
Right.
something. You know.
Well,
That's a great idea.
I think we're going to have to work on the marketing on this after the show.
I think so. Well, what we're going to do now is we're going to take another quick break and do a little business here, and we'll be back with more Motor Mouth Radio. We're going to talk to Mr. Lewis Lee, get a quick SEMA update, and so think up some questions, and we'll
Yeah, hang in there.
formulated. And Steve, we're going to go back and we're going to go visit the '60s now. We're going to how about a little Beach Boys tune?
Sounds good.
You
Which
know,
one?
I'm the purveyor of the non Well, I like the Beach Boys songs that they were all kind of hits, but the ones that weren't like I don't like the ones that everybody knows all the time.
Okay.
I like the ones that are a little off, but still good. So we're going to visit that and see if you agree. And we'll be back with more of this in a few minutes on 90.3 WHPC.
Run, a do run, run, whoa, run, a run.